honestly, Casey did a really good job with this map veto. They banned out their one permaban in Pearl, and then also that weak map in Ascent, which is such a strong map for Smurfette as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how they take advantage of this. I definitely think that it leans in their favor. There is that snowball potential as we get later on in this series. I think that the split is a really important map, like the Dusk was saying, for Giant X to pick up here, Mitch. But Glance was sounding so confident in that interview that we had at the top of the day, saying that their KC is so prepared for Giant X and how they approach split and understand very well how to counter them. And I'm looking forward to seeing how they make that come to fruition.
Well, always good to see a series starting out with a mirror matchup. We get a great read on how things are going to go down. This is GX's map pick. They start on the attack side, and then we'll be off to Haven, somewhere that disaster has been spelled out before, but more about that later, because the pistol's already underway, the barriers are up, and players about to erupt through the vents. The flash is going behind them. GX getting ahead of that utility and finding a double opening here in the vents.
Just such a nice start, and this is the IGL that we were talking about here on the side of Giant X, right? The fact that she's able to, or sorry, on the side of KC, but man, the way the Giant X actually start things out, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna get a little bit tripped up every single time I hear GX, and then I also hear the name of like the IGL on the side of KC. But overall, this is a great start. Giant X enemy remaining to be able to already turn this into a 5v1 situation. I'm still sorting myself out. I'm not gonna be honest after getting tripped up over the names.
GX and GX, left. Yeah, it's a hell of a head-to-head, isn't it? It always gets me as well. Well, now it is just GX facing off against GX in the 1 versus 5. The controller player for KC. There's a lot waiting around that corner, up and over the lip, as a flawless is locked in for Giant X. Let's make it easy, and the attacking side gets off to a good start.
And it's so important, I think, for Giant X to be picking up this pistol here, especially starting off on that attacking side here on split, on their map pick, and with how we've been talking about the look of this veto, right, overall, and that potential to see this go to, again, another 5 mapper. I really think that's the expectation for this grand final. These two teams have really cemented quite the rivalry between each other, with each other, I mean, throughout the entire season so far of Game Changers EMEA in 2025. It's just crazy how many times these teams have already played each other so far this year here, Mitch.
It really is, and it is often, barring one time, always KC that come out on top. So seeing the series start out with a pistol win for GX is a great sign. We have to be wary of, as we learned the other day, those pistols can be terrifying. And here on Split, on the defensive side, there's a lot of value that you can get if you are grouped up, as we're seeing towards the B site. Many numbers, in fact 4 players essentially, awaiting the arrival of Giant X. But luckily for the attacking side, they didn't just pigeonhole themselves into that play where they were around B main very recently. That timing's terrible for Nami. Ooh. So 1 player down, but they still have that option to wrap around towards the A site. But they don't fully know where that stack is waiting, and it looks like they're gonna walk into a lot more numbers, a lot of utility. They've made it out unpunished.
That's a really nice trap play, but now you've also got Safia on an island here over at ramp. Location discovered now as well.
Yeah, that should be it for Safia. And I like that Anasia is coming in so quickly to try and get that little bit of backup, fire from the behind, and maybe catch them off in an almost crossfire. But Safia falls so quickly, there's no chance. 12 seconds, the weapons that are awaiting these classics, and what a ghost for Alkia, they're not good enough on that defensive side to be able to really muscle their way into the site to stop the plant. So instead, they're left in this position, spiked down, 2v4, and playing a containment game. If they can just make this costly, if they can have, hey, Giant X all die to the spike, that'd be great. And a lot of these players are low, so great opportunities to catch some of these exit picks, and at a minimum, go down to the spike after. There's already one.
Yeah, just trying to do a little bit more work here. Glance, not sure if she's actually going to go for it, but Giant X, you know, they're prepared for the fact that they're expecting those exits and no ult orbs to be donated going forward. But overall, I think what's interesting about this mirror matchup too is with the confidence that we've heard coming out from KC on how they're looking to expect Giant X to play, I think that the mirror kind of just adds that additional layer to it, right? There's no difference in that utility. And this control, I think, with these 1-3-1 splits that we're seeing in that default here coming out from Giant X to ensure that they have that initial information on the extremities, is something that we can continue to look out for as the map does continue to flow on here. But I like the positioning that we've seen so far. They were great ideas that we saw for that mid control coming out from KC even into the last round. But a bit of a different look this time. Surfeit already all the way inserted here into Vents.
Yeah, and look at the defensive player, GX, so aggressively pushed up in B main. That's a lot of information to work with. And then these traps on A, they're not in normal choke points. They're not in positions where they can be broken by utility, caught by the Skydog easily. These are traps. they're meant to get kills off the back of them. We call them kill traps a lot of the time, but I prefer traps personally.
A little tongue twister to start the day off. But they're very comfortable on the side of KC to allow Giant X to take a lot of this space, being aware of the fact that they've got those kill traps that you're talking about, giving kind of that signaling for utility that can be thrown out for a couple of those trap plays, and the delay that we're seeing now. Giant X are fully canned in here, and they're about to be swarmed. It should be a fast flood from KC as Giant X take the A side.
That flash was perfect. Ava working wonders, and Smurfette not spotted by Glance on the way through. That's a huge pick. They thought with the trap still being up that no one could be that close, but a big mistake as the blast packs, or indeed the drop out of heaven, I think it was, had gotten them over and past that utility. And this is the problem. You mentioned it, Ash, the fact that we had Safia on the A side on her own. The side of KC was so comfortable to give up all that space, but those players being in heaven, those players being so close on site and not falling down to the traps, that's really what gives the edge to GX here, who are just able to catch them by surprise, get much closer than expected, and walk out of this round with all 5 players still alive. You know, we talked about a good start, and you never know after the pistol how things are going to go. Round 3, you know, often we're like, well, as long as the team that won pistol in the follow-up can get a couple kills, it's all right, keep the economy modest. But a 3-0 start, this is a statement of a start here on Split.
Oh, it definitely is. I think something that I want to see going forward here from the defense on the side of KC will be a little bit more of that proactivity that we actually saw in that second round when they were on that eco, going for a bit of that B main space. Sure, we did see the crossover from KC this time around as well, but they weren't quite playing that push and pull. I think we're playing a little bit more conservatively there. And for Giant X, they've been more than happy to do these contact plays where they're walking up, not giving that telegraphed information for KC to set up for more of those trap plays. And it allows them to save a lot of that utility as well, to be reactionary. And the punish coming out, we've talked about here how GX loves to get so aggressive, being nearly tied actually when it comes down to those first engagement statistics with Alkia, and Giant X are doing a great job of punishing her for it so far.
No, absolutely. We saw it. And just to touch on the first point you made, these contact plays and the value of them. Think back even to the pistol that was there, the push into vents, the shift walk through the smoke, the flash fired out by Anasia, but the players were already past it. And getting past that utility has been a factor in these first 3 rounds. In this one, a lot of players have weaknesses, and we started to see them bodies hit the floor on that defensive side. But there's a pulse from Alkia, able to find the one, and now a 3v4 in the back of it. Nade fired through, their eyes diverted, but Glance not able to connect the kill. And with Alkia down to 33 HP, despite the nade trading out, Safia is left with a weight of responsibility on her shoulders, has to find something from up top with the Sheriff. And unfortunately, the positions they were in taking that fight there from Giant X were actually just unknowingly perfect. Safia couldn't find the kill or even someone to shoot at alongside her teammate. Then they spot her afterwards, and now I mean, normally I'd say impossible, improbable, and dealt with by Sarah to put 4-0 on the board. This attack side shaping up wonderfully for Giant X.
They look extremely comfortable right now with the approach that we're seeing coming out from them. Really starving, I feel, KC of some of that early information with the contact plays we keep talking about and forcing them to use a bit of that utility earlier on. I think that B main fight is something we're going to have to keep our eyes on here between GX and Nami. It's been kind of like a 1-for-1 so far, but again, these risks that the controller in the IGL is taking early on into these rounds can be such a marker of how the rest of the round is going to follow. But a nice deep smoke this time around, a bit more contention from... Okay, well, that's a little bit unlucky, unfortunately there, Mitch.
Yeah, you know, you can look at all these fights on B main, the contact plays working for Giant X, but the spam through the smoke, it's not usually that repeatable, it's not that reliable, but in a very important round, it's found its mark. KC go pushing to try to recover space, and they've walked right into the trap of Giant X. No contact play this time, instead much more reserved, waiting for that aggression to come through after the 5v4 they were put in by that opening pick through the smoke, and now this round is already done. Casey had to make some sort of a response. They didn't have B main control as they did in so many other rounds, and pushing down to seize that space back, I love it. I think it's the right idea, but the fact that Giant X were ready for it, that has just put them in the dirt. 5-0, and that was a big investment from the defense.
I mean, it's a lovely call coming out from Giant X. The read was sublime when they came down to how far back they were positioned for this mid crossfire to clean up that push. And honestly, I was expecting GX to even look to get the save on the side of KC, but it's no surprise that we're seeing this timeout called right now. Honestly, I would have expected it to even come out like a couple of rounds ago, but better late than never, I guess, for the side of Giant X. Sorry, we're gonna keep it clear here on the stream. For the side of Giant X, they've got to be thrilled about this. This next round, they're expected to win it. They're guaranteed going into the next half at least even.
Yeah, we'll have to put that in the title of the stream. Like when we say GX, it's the player on KC. When we say Giant X, it's the team. But yeah, no, I like it. So round 5, coming out of that pause, I can understand why we get here. The round before, going into round 4, it wasn't like they had a great buy. It's scrappy. And as a coach, you're sitting there listening. You hear some good ideas. You hear the comps. There's nothing for you to correct. Fair enough. And as long as going into round 5, again, you hear a unique idea come out. Okay, we're going to play early contact on mid, perhaps around that showstopper. And that's an okay situation to allow to unfold. Whatever that was heard was fine, but the fact that it didn't work out, the fact that then you look at how the round plays out and Giant X had a clear read on what was going on, perfect adaptations, that's where you need to step in. This isn't typically the round that you're looking to find that result in, though. Weaker weapons across the board. GX not even able to use her main weapon. It was a classic in hand, but now that's gotten the pick. And so, whoa, the smoke came in a little bit late. That's a disaster. That could have been a weapon recovered. Instead, back to a 4v4. Still, in this round, a weapon on the floor for them to retrieve. It's better than it could have been.
I've got your trail.
It definitely is, but the numbers would have been so nice on the side of KC there. Seekers to come through gives away the stack over towards this B site. Now a quick pivot to try and crunch Anasilia. A great aftershock to delay at the very least.
Yeah, it's bought extra time, as has that flash. The stun gonna follow it up as well, and by now, Safi is rotated into position.
Oh my god.
Yeah! The showstopper landed for 3 in a round where they had next to nothing in terms of credits. It's the ultimate invested that pulls this across the line for the first round win of KC here on Split. A pay safe card, thrifty at that.
Incredibly well played off the back of Anasilia's utility. This is a player that on that breach, she has been so good throughout the entirety of stage 2, but especially in playoffs has been one of the leading players when it comes to those assists per round, and we can see why. Just so much impact to come through, but an insane showstopper. But that's the momentum that KC need to get them back here into Split.
Oh, without a doubt. That is the round that injects the momentum back into your favor. And, okay, This fight towards B main, the stuns have been the death of Nami, but now look how many players are there to back her up, ready for that aggression coming out of KC. They were feeling confident, but they've been dealt with early, and now the response, a move towards this site where the information is already there for Giant X, but they're confident with the Rolling Thunder invested and the blast packs across that they can find these fights, and they will do, at least to start and maybe to finish. 2 players left alive, both on the back site. They won't be expecting them to be here this quickly. A Rolling Thunder online, glance with another. The numbers really coming down to the wire for GX. They've caught them all still stunned, leaving just Sarah. The players on the other side low. The heal doesn't come in on time, and it certainly couldn't prevent that headshot from delivering death. It's a 1v1, and Sarah running for the hills. The plan set to come in on A.
So nicely done. A deep trip as well, just to give a bit of that early signal to how close Glance is going to be as she looks to get that spike initiated here onto the A site. We do have the Trailblazer to work with here for Glance at the very least into this 1v1. But with this early signaling, it just gives a better idea to Sarah about the timing that she has. I love this rotation over towards ramps, plants it out in the open for Heaven here.
And Glance was so clutch in so many of the rounds up against her former team G2, but now it's Sarah, the former duelist, up top waiting, has a good read on exactly where Glance has gone, and the plant is wide open. This could be an easy connection, even just to run the clock down. The peak and the shot connected. No time delayed by Sarah. Just takes it across the line herself for the Red Bull clutch, and it looks like they're right back to winning ways on the side of Giant X.
Yeah, shutting down any momentum that KC were trying to build off the back of that Thrifty round. And it's all thanks to a lot of that conditioning that was done in the first 5 rounds of this half, with the fact that they did have that initial solo fight towards the end, but pulling up with the entire cavalry, knowing that KC like to play that push and pull, go for that more aggressive B main control off the gate of a round.
Get down already. These opening picks have been there for Giant X in so many of these rounds. In fact, recovering on ones where they weren't. So it goes from bad to worse. If you're a KC fan, the operator on Anasia, it's standing, it's pushing forward, seeing no contact, wanting to find those players, and will. It was a firing squad that she walked right into, but somehow steps out full HP and a pick under her belt. KC still down by 1 player though.
Just sitting back here, knowing that Giant X have to re-clear some of this space. They didn't go for that same mid control earlier on into the round, and now you've got them looking to try and group up. Are we sticking this? Not quite. I got a little bit nervous. You never know with GX if she's actually going to land one of those from the shadows or not. But at the very least, I think something we have to keep our eyes on here is going to be Sarah's positioning over towards mid with this execution here onto the B site.
30 seconds
I like
left.
that blast pack across, gets the info, stun in, nade in, and they're already crossed into sight. More difficult for that op to find its value now. It's crossed into the hands of Safia. The player spotted down in mid. They know there's 3 on B, and they like their odds. Diving in, but not expecting Smurfette to be so close. The flash actually gets her out of there alive. And with no punish, they might already be thinking about a save. That operator valuable in the credits, not looking healthy for KC. Waiting for that push to come through, knowing that Giant X would want to hunt that weapon down. Safia's found another, but it is not safe yet. Not out of the woods by any means. Sarah waiting on the other side. The shot missed to start, and now she's closing in the distance. The op, it's under threat. It's in danger, and it's Sarah presenting that danger. Already dropping 1, and time still there, but the shot connected by Safia catches the jump peak with a wall bank. And that will be the op carried forward, but the rounds continuing to extend in favor of Giant X.
That operator is going to be something we have to keep our eyes out into this next round. Going to be really the piece to find that value, considering it should be one of the only potent weapons that we see carried over here. And that was just such bad timing on the side of KC, but great timing for Giant X with that from the shadows. They heard it being canceled, knew that that scouting had been done, and it was the perfect opportunity to go for that explosion onto the B site. The KC, they yet to find an answer off the back of that timeout, aside from the sole round win, that being the Thrifty.
Well, a decent investment from KC. Still a chance for this one to go across the line. They put the credits into it. The flash landed, but they can't get out with the kill. Smurfette, I don't know how she's gotten away with this. I think it's Glance a lot of the time that she's catching out on the side and surviving, spraying full blind for a 5 versus 3. This is a disaster. KC already in some rounds would be considering the save, but the rounds are too far gone at this point. A 6-round gap. They want to fight their way back through, and they found the opening pick. Utility well placed, but the smoke comes in just in time from Nami to stop any value on the back of it. Sarah down below, not spotted just yet as GX falls. So too does Anasia. It's Ava stepping up for the double, and the op again recovered and looking to flee the site to the other side of the map. This is not going according to plan for KC, and we talk about them always winning in this battle. The majority of games have gone in their favor up against GX, barring one. But this seems to be a different flavor of Giant X brought to bear today.
Their timing has been so good, it feels like, when it comes down to that positioning for these fights here on the side of Giant X, especially over towards that initial B extremity. It's just the general ability for them to try and either get ahead of the utility that they're expecting to be thrown out over towards B main, or even the looking to counter it, playing a little bit of that anti-utility as well. Of course, in that last round, we saw a default over towards a bit of a different set play on the side of Giant X, knowing that that operator was going to be in hand, and that's why you see the adjustment coming in, is ensuring that they are going to be able to util that off. But for KC, you have a hero rifle here for Alkia. Flash out. This is dangerous.
Dangerous indeed, Ash. Nail on the head. That was bold. That was very bold.
I was like, we're really dogging here. I had to take a beat.
Oh, that flash. Well, it's landed, but not in the way they wanted. Smurfette gets caught just over the cage. Ends up getting taken down. This has been a tricky start when it comes to utility to round number 10. And GX 8-1 in the lead. They might be about to taste defeat, but they've chosen the right site. The rotation into B. GX all alone there, but not for long.
Oh no, could throw out a mid-site smoke as well to help with that Bucky that we should see coming through. Oh, we're getting up close and personal.
Nearsighted, but it doesn't matter.
No!
With the Bucky. Oh no! The kills have come in for KC, and they've ended up walking out with the dub. But that opening engagement, I think she's been robbed there. That was point blank, and they still managed to walk out of it.
I 100% agree with you. At the very least, it was great paranoia to buy that time for the rest of the team to get that rotation from that A site, but a little bit heartbreaking at this point, Mitch. Like, do they even buy guns anymore? Like, both round wins have been thrifty rounds here on the side of KC.
Yeah, this is where the real danger is for KC when they have weapons, right? And also when Ness apparently has 400 shields. I don't know how she survived a Bucky shot from that close. That's outrageous. Even in the replay, it looks to be dead on, but wow. Okay. Oh, fire in the hole. Here comes the showstopper, and it's not found the kill.
Oh
it was
my
down
God.
close, but it went deep into that stairwell, and so Safia ends up finding the opening herself. For KC, this is a lifeline. And not only avoiding the opening pick going to Smurfette, avoiding the showstopper, but then finding a 2-player advantage. It's traded back on though. 4 versus 3.
Yeah. But in this 3v4, Giant X looking to regroup here now over towards mid. The thing is, you've got the Cypher setup also changed up over towards this B site. Great neural threat for a bit of that information. Going to force Anacilia a little bit further back. With Ness taken out, little options here other than to try and take this A heaven control on the side of Giant X. A lot of time to work with. For KC, quick to flood back.
Yeah, I mean, they're pinching them right now, but I suppose only the Heaven players are able to take that fight still. The double swing works out wonders for KC, as now they're closing in the gap. 4 still the max they can get. We're going into the last round of the half, but it's a damn sight better than it looked like, and that is so unfortunate. Almost hit Omen directly, ended up going a couple inches too far to take down Safia, and that's the real difference maker in that opening.
I think the funniest part about that is Safia's just chilling on the can the entire time, like crouched, watching B main, no care in the world, unaware, honestly, maybe even that the showstopper was coming her way, to walk away from that. But for KC, signs of life here late into the first half, at the very least. If they're able to get a fourth on the board.
Sarah got there. I heard the ult coming through, and you said it earlier, Ash. It's hard to tell when GX is going to commit that ulti. Well, here was the attempt, a brazen attempt to get behind them on A and cause this crunch in alongside Anasia and Glance. But now with GX down, that B site looks a little bit more open, at least most rounds from what we've seen. And that might be what GX are thinking. There is still utility waiting for them there. A kill trap over to the left. The advantage, they will just group up with it and hit this B site.
Yeah, it should be comfortable for them to take B. But you take a look over on the side of Carmen Core, and there is that showstopper available here for Alkia to try and break back into this site onto the retake. They're actually going to go fast for this flood. No purchase to be found, though, with that rocket.
It's a little bit of a misread. Alkia still gets away with one, with two. In fact, in the numbers back to even. Big swing coming in from Anasia. Has support from Safi, and they'll find themselves the pick. Rolling Thunder in. Nami just about gets out, but the problem is no ult to play with. You got to go out. You got to take that spike, and there's 15 seconds left. They've got to move. They've got to go right into the waiting arms of this KC side. Ness! Damn close to a 4K clutch. But in the end, it's Glance to bring it across the line. 8-4 now. GX still with a big lead, leaving half number one.
A little close for comfort, but Giant X could not be happier with how this half has started off. I'm looking forward to seeing if KC are going to be able to find the pistol round after we come back from a quick break.
30 seconds left. Spike down, B. Last player standing. One enemy.
Welcome back. 8-4. GX moving on. Giant X, hold on now. We got to remember. GX on KC as well. Giant X moving on to their defensive half. 8 rounds on the board. But Ash, we saw a resurgence from KC, winning the last 3 rounds of that previous half. It looks like they might have found their footing just in time.
Yeah, I think they started leaning a little bit more into some of those trap plays and really specific goals when it came down to a lot of that mid control, especially over towards B Heaven, knowing that Giant X were consistently punishing them for a lot of that B main aggression there as well. But this pistol round is incredibly important here for Carmen Core to pick up. We saw the importance that it had on the first half for Giant X to build up a lot of that early momentum. Now looking to stack over towards that A side in a 4-1 split, and you've just got Glance trying to keep a lot of that attention over towards mid.
And goes the stun. The play is being made, and you can see that Glance waiting for that rotation, has heard it. It's all about timing for her. A big pinch here on A. Giant X having a lot of players. That's already the picks, though, go back in favor of KC. Out of ammo, Smurfette barely escapes, and the nade ends up taking out Safia. But now, Glance is completing that wraparound a little bit late. The players have left Heaven. It might get them a plant, and a good spot to play from in the post plant. But whether it's going to leave Alkia out on her own, isolated, it's all down to the timing. Glance wrapping on screens, but they found Alkia. The spam's taking her down low. She stands her ground for one, and Glance strikes just in time. The pistol is indeed found by KC.
Great mid positioning and a good timing coming out from Glance to ensure that they could secure this round here. So a little bit of that distraction play, something that we might have to keep in mind as this map goes on, coming out from the side of KC. Things got definitely scrappy towards that A site with the flood. Great protocoling to ensure that they could deal with that Cypher utility before the flood onto site coming out from Carmine Core. Now with the anti-eco up, a really strong buy coming in on the side of KC, looking to also try and keep as many of these weapons going forward as possible.
Scout destroyed.
Right away, a clear signal on where this push is coming through. KC wasting no time and diving into the A site. And this is it, like you said, there's a big investment from the attack. For Giant X, just doing a little bit of damage here, taking a couple of players down, is going to stand to give them a pretty big reward. We'll see if they can manage to find anything. As you can see, much more passive plays than you'll usually see. And this might be them saying, look, if KC overextend, if they come pushing into us, we'll take the picks. If not, we just go down to the spike.
Yeah, try and deny those ult orbs, right? And try and keep KC from building up any further ultimate economy going into a bonus round that should be very nicely contested by the weaponry in hands here for KC. Overall, GX still going to look to try and deny a little bit of that value, but we should be seeing the rest of the weapons carried over here by Carmine Court. Will be just the case. And now it's a question of, okay, how are Giant X going to look to deal with this? We saw some of the ideas that they had over on that pistol round with a little bit of that like mid information, but a lot of the counter coming out from Glance to keep them in mail, not allow them to look to scale up. I'm looking forward to seeing how KC are going to continue to deal with that.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Well, we're going to see barriers go up on a new round. Former rifles are in play for both sides, and the benefit here for KC, I mean, just take a look at the credits. They've got a lot in the bank, but they're still bringing a decent amount of firepower into this round. Certainly nothing to turn your nose at. And it looks again like there's an early favorite from this KC side. The A site has 4 players outside of it. Glance left to late lurk again. The benefit of having that breach, as we'll see throughout a lot of this. And in fact, no, the Glance is going to come rejoin the squad. It's not a repeat of the pistol round. It's not a late mid play. And a good job too. The Tigers sent down, clearing out all of mid. In goes Smurfette, and through the smoke finds her one.
A great satchel back to reposition here as well. And now Sarah's just got to stay alive on site.
Oh, do more than that. She's already found one. A second looked probable, but she's been dropped just in time. KC still drawing breath in this round, and with GX finding another. Glance looking up top and eliminating her Sky counterpart. It's all down to Nami. 1 versus 2. A big play needed, and it won't be found here as Glance returns to winning ways. So too to KC. 1 round behind, and after the way this map started at, correct me if I'm wrong, it was 8-1 at a moment in time. That's a remarkable recovery already, with momentum firmly in KC's favor.
Absolutely. The fact that they're able to respond so nicely as well on the side of KC, I feel like says so much about this squad, the experience that they have on this roster as well, mainly looking at Glance for that. But even Alkia cementing herself in a position where you'd start to consider her a vet as well in the Game Changers scene from her time initially debuting over on BBL. But this walk down here from Giant X anticipated by KC, but Smurfette the one to actually come out on top with 2.
Well, you see why she's stuck on the duel list for oh so long. Just got that aim, got that aggression as well that we heard about in the interview. And here, in a round like this where you've got all those weaknesses, it's exactly what you need. Giant X looking to secure a 9th round after a win streak from KC extending across 2 halves. It's not done yet. The rifles are still in play. Nami's being spotted on backside, but got her one! And Ness connects beautifully. That's the round done and dusted. The defense finding their first in this half, breaking the streak of KC with a pay safe card thrifty.
Mitch, I feel like we've seen this before. Maybe in the first half, the way that, you know, we start off with that 3-0. Sure, granted, it was a 5-0 start for Giant X, but these thrifty rounds being where these teams are able to find the answer on defense. And I think it does come down to a lot of that proactivity that we're seeing out of the defenders, them taking a few more of those risks, getting a bit aggressive over towards mid in that round, on the extremities and others, and forcing KC into those positions where they're playing a bit more of that push and pull, have to expend some of that utility a bit earlier on into the round. Just like the Flash already forces the Trailblazer out earlier on just to clear out close here over towards A.
Oh yeah, I like the idea that they've already shown a lot of favor for this A side, and the players in there are going to start to think that the same play is coming through. They see the Sky Util, they see the Cypher there as they have before. But they are reacting quickly to this information as the B side being taken. The committal of that ult not coming through as Nami's the one to find it onto Alkia. Now we see KC having to push through a smoke, and Nami still on the side. The trap, absolutely perfect. Catching GX and leaving her with nowhere to go. KC, after winning so many rounds in a row, one blip on the radar, and it looks like Giant X have full control over those reins yet again. The spike down, and almost no choice for the attackers but to carry these weapons through to the next round.
30 seconds left.
No, and you consider the fact that, yeah, KC, they may have won their bonus earlier on, but Giant X, they are making these rounds expensive as well, and we should see that full purchase still coming in for the remainder of the team. But you also look at the investments on the side of KC too.
10 seconds left.
Their alt economy looking a little bit lackluster, I think. Actually, no. Catch me wrong. I'm apparently cannot distinguish between different shades of gray on my screen there, Mitch. But looking at that alt economy now, Anastasia is building up into that Rolling Thunder, potential to even get it online for this round, depending on how they look to prioritize some of that extremity control. Could look to see to farm up even over towards B main and get that plant secured to have the Rolling Thunder into the coast tier. Could be a great plan here for KC.
What a round that was from Nami as well, catching the blast pack out initially from Alkia, stopping her from having any of that impact, any of that backside control, and forcing the fight onto Sarah. And from there, you know, players having to push through the smoke, it's an easy pick. The trap that was placed by Sarah as well being sprung perfectly. For KC, it's easy to reset from that. That's an execute that didn't work out. It's a site they don't want to fight again, but losing Safia, losing those traps and the control towards A, that's a big pick for Giant X to have. 5 versus 4, one weapon on the ground. And the attacking side, again, almost shoehorned into this B play.
You do look at this mid control secured, but with this stack over towards the B side, it's not going to be an easy feat to take it. And soon, with how Giant X are positioning across the rest of the map, this walk down coming out from Ava as well into sewers is going to have KC canned in.
Nice stuff by Ava.
Spike down mid.
KC, you know, they're posturing for these plays and they're being interrupted at every step of the way. GX can't go down. That's the spike. It is sat in mid. GX has to be the one to retrieve it, and look at the response. Giant X looking to push back through and fill that space. GX can perhaps try to step across. No, goes for the swing. Well, that is a big mistake and a big punish from Giant X, who now have the spike. They've got a 5 versus 2, and despite all this control from KC, a player in screens, a player in heaven, there's nothing you can do with it without that spike. Maybe an Omen with an ult could have a chance, but with the time so low and the numbers stacked against them,
10 seconds left.
this will be an 11th round for Giant X. Just when KC had that streak of rounds, we see exactly why Giant X picked this map. Dodging the paranoia, but you can't dodge those shots from Ava. It's only Alkia left alive. The weapon will be carried forward, but Giant X in the home stretch now. Oh,
really
there was
nicely
no need
done
to
by
slow-mo
Giant
that.
X. No, it was just like the strafing back and forth. Ava coming out on top there, but again, the fact that she managed to get that deeper flash into A main and then into that sewers position as well, just completely takes away any adjustments that KC could really make for that mid-rounding, and the read being so comfortable for Giant X. You see a timeout now being called out by Karma and Core. Giant X haven't needed to use a single one of their own. KC already having both expended, and when we're looking at how they're approaching the attack now, right? We've seen the comfort of that A main push that we saw previously, that 4-1 split. Giant X, I feel like they've done a really good job at trying to contest that space early on and not allowing KC to get any players inserted over towards ramps and have that positioning for the lurks, have that positioning for that mid-rounding.
Well, here's where there's a really big decision for KC to make. The economy not looking great, a mixed buy possible, or an eco to play 12-7, to play for 5 rounds in a row. They already managed 6, but you gotta account for that pistol round, giving them a little injection. I think it's the right play. Go for it now, put the money on the line, and if they can find an orb here, Anasia could have that ultimate online, the Rolling Thunder, to claim them space to play for post-plant however they wish or want to use it. But failing this round going their way, it'll be all about map 2. Giant X losing Smurfette immediately, though. That's not how you want this to start out. I talked about Rolling Thunder, but with that pick, the showstopper could be online here or in the next.
Yeah, definitely a massive pickup. Smurfette's been playing extremely well so far in map 1. A bit of a jiggle does reveal that information here for Giant X, and now the pivot to be called from KC. But look at where Sarah's positioned right now, just in front of the trip, looks to break it. Neural threat coming in here as well, just about to get caught out and overstaying her welcome over at this A site. Giant X now having to rush on over in this 5v3.
Nami, another big play. Catches glance, finds another, and that's the spike down, pulling the numbers back in their favor. As Giant X look down and out, the showstopper has to be used to no effect. This is Nami's site, and no one else can have any sort of reign over it. Ava pushed on up close, will find another, and that swings it firmly in Giant X's favor. But it's the savior over on that Giant X side, Nami, who gave them this opportunity. 12-7 now, thanks to her, and Ava knocking it out of the park to finish. That is just a remarkable play, especially when that flash just went past her. They were milliseconds away from having the information that someone was there, and they paid a heavy price to get that info.
They absolutely did. A round that Giant X had no business winning, and not even being able to get that plant secured either. The fact that she's able to shut down Alkia with that showstopper in hand as well, and then Ava just cleans everything else up. That was a must-need round there for KC. Now Giant X, they have so many opportunities to close out our first map of this best of 5.
Now this has been a remarkable display indeed. And of course, we've mentioned Haven up next. It's not like that is a favored map for Giant X, let's say, especially not after last time, but this one here, it's looking good. Nami finds one. Swing out from Ava, good to land a kill. Oh, she knows that she's dead now. That Rolling Thunder coming from the corner, but trading that ult for just one pick to put it back into a 3v3, Giant X might even be happy with that. Still a real chance for them to connect this round with 2 players on site. One trap destroyed by the nade. The flash doesn't catch. Sarah still very much ready to fight, and a blind of their own is given a chance. GX does well and falls eventually, leaving just this outlaw, but both players one shot to the sniper. Just one connection needed, a fade away and potential close, but look at how passive they're being, hiding in those corners. Nice shot by Smurfette, but Alkia's got the jump on her to keep KC in it.
Nice positioning, but a costly round. Sure, they win it. But these repurchases, again, KC are struggling to build up any of that economy as they try and bring this to an overtime here on Split. In this grand final, these 2 teams, they faced each other before. They went the distance. It's the expectation for today, and we've placed so much importance on this first map to be one that Giant X can take away, considering the veto leaning heavily into KC's favor, especially within those first few maps that we're seeing.
Yeah, it's a very important one indeed, and we heard it from the desk earlier as well. 4 rounds in a row is a big task for KC to be able to connect. It looks like the hard work has been done by Giant X. Just a formality to close it out. Ults used in the previous by KC. 1 round before was the showstopper burned up. They're running out of those high impact ultimates, of those safety nets. They've chosen the right site to attack. Again, that trap dealt with immediately. Great paranoia onto Sarah. And it's a free pick for Alkia with a blast pack in the backside. They've secured this in a 5v4.
Should be comfortable here in the post plan for the side of KC. There is opportunity for Ness to try and get the Rolling Thunder online here as well.
Oh, good connection. Alkia onto Ava. That should shut down this retake. And Giant X immediately make the read. You see them back off. Ness is falling back towards the spawn. These weapons, well, at least one of them is going to be carried into the next. Nami, she wants to have impact here. Wants to make it costly. Drop some of these weapons and leave KC in that bit of a worse spot economically. Here's the numbers coming through that choke point. Has to jump. Finds one. Oh, almost finds 2. I thought it was going to be a connection. But still, the damage done. 12-9. 3 more needed for KC to bring us to overtime.
You're not being shot at. You're doing something wrong.
It's starting to get a little bit dangerous here with the success that they're finding. I think if Sarah does continue to set up over towards this A site, I'd like to see a shift in positioning into the next couple of rounds, considering she's constantly playing over towards Billboard. KC have a great read on that now as well, and are doing a great job of using that utility to make that position uncomfortable and to set Alkia up as readily as possible on those entries onto site. And the first timeout now to be called by Giant X. They want to close this map out soon, because their money is also starting to run a little bit dry with how KC are building up into this momentum. And you want to shut it down before KC also start to really lean into a couple of these ultimates. Like, we could see a showstopper, Rolling Thunder, or Seeker is online at any point, and Giant X, they want to get ahead of that.
Understandably. For them, you know, we already saw those ultis used up, and the showstopper not to great effect. It was Nami interrupting that completely, destroying the play that could have seen KC close to equalizing at this point. Gave them that little bit of a lifeline, but the next time around it might not be the same result, and those ultis could very easily see things tip into the attacker side's favor. For GX, Giant X, that is. This is their opportunity to close it out before things get a little too hairy. 3 in a row for KC, as we said, a big task. It starts step by step, take some control, possibly get that ult orb as well. And the pressure will be put towards Nami, the player that shut down one of those big rounds in the past. Paranoia's landed, but Alkia made it to sight. Nami's there to greet her, taking her down with ease. The flash landed, but it doesn't take out Smurfette. She's clean to get one before falling. Ness in with another blind. It's perfect. The swing in from Ava, and Nami seems to be putting a pin in this, but Stafia one away from the ace, but can't quite find it. It's Giant X to take map number 1. A close affair, though.